Hello guys, gals, and non-binary pals, welcome back to my channel, and today I wanted to go over why I'm prepping for 7.0 already, which might come to a surprise to you since we haven't even gotten 6.4 yet, but not gonna lie, I already started for 7.0, and since I'm doing it, I want to share it with you as well. We're gonna go over what I have been buying, what prices are good, and what prices will be good for later, and more. So with all that being said, let's get into it. So to start, like with any prediction video, of course, we're using past expansions, patches, etc. to make informed decisions. Doesn't mean that I have a crystal ball and I know everything before it comes out. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. And the first section is trial weapons. Now, if you are wary of spoilers and you haven't finished Endwalker or the trials, then do skip this section since I will be mentioning them. But of course, with every patch, new trial weapons are released and the Endwalker trial weapons are looking really good so far, and I'm very excited for their crafted versions. Now with the Ruby weapon, not gonna lie, they look kind of ugly, and I think that's why they didn't do very good. Unlike the Hades weapons and the Titania weapons, they look amazing even at their base versions, so of course, the materials sold for more often and more at a time. Of course, if you're watching this video in 7.0, whichever Shadowbringers trial weapons we haven't gotten just yet, you can also prepare for those. But so far, as of 6.35, we have everything but the Diamond weapon, Emerald weapon, and Warrior of Light. So diamond plating, emerald plating, and plating of light. Although I would really just focus on the plating of light since the Warrior of Light weapons look good and the other two aren't pretty meh. For Endwalker, of course, Heidelin's Call is the Crystal of Divine Light, and Singer's Aria, Blue Feather, Storm's Crown Extreme, Pearl of Winds, and Mount Ordeal's Pearl of Flames. Right now, the Hades Aura site is 394,000. It was worth $1 million or more for a good long while once the Hades weapons came out, and funnily enough, the Hades weapons came out towards the end of Shadowbringers, so we might see an Endwalker weapon towards the end of Endwalker as well, although we don't know for sure. But even almost 2 years later, the Hades Aura site is 394,000. Let's go ahead and compare to some of the current trial materials. And here is the Crystal of Divine Light, 147,000, but you can get it cheaper on different servers. So far, it is pretty darn cheap. And here is the Blue Feather. Of course, you can get it cheaper on other servers. It was selling on Louiswa for 160,000, 150, 189. Right now, it's a little bit more expensive at 272, but you can get it for pretty darn cheap if you buy it at the right time or hop to a different server. Even if you sell it at 300k, you're still making a good profit, especially if you buy a whole lot of them. And since the weapons look really good as their base version, I have a good feeling this is going to be worth a ton once the weapon comes out. The Pearl of Winds is also pretty cheap, and the base weapon also looks pretty good. And here's the most recent one, the Pearl of Flames. A little bit too expensive for me right now to go ahead and stock for them, so I'd rather just focus on the others. But along with the trial weapons leads us to the next stockpile, which is Endgame Intermediates. Now, of course, the Rubex weapons are from the Ruby weapon, and all Shadowbringers trial weapons use the same basic endgame materials, which is the tungsten ingot, alumina whetstone, and some other lower tier intermediates like the dwarven mithril ingot, etc. The tungsten steel ingot was from Masterbook 7 and is equivalent to our lunar adamantite ingot right now. Therefore, the Endwalker weapons will probably use the lunar adamantite ingots and all these Masterbook 9 intermediates. And just like how I bought the tungsten steel ingots for dirt cheap, the lunar adamantite ingots are just as cheap. 30 gil, 40 gil. I would just go server by server and buy it out. People will constantly be posting these for really cheap since they're just getting this stuff out of their inventory, thinking that these no longer serve a purpose. There's something even more worthwhile. The alumina whetstone is 22k each, sometimes selling up to 29,000, and some items use the pliable glass fiber, which sells for around 16,000 up to 20,000 each. And of course, our equivalent is the Hanish fiber, where you can buy each one for around 1,000 to 2,000, but right now my server is empty on these. And the whetstone equivalent would be our Eblin Danabrite, which is around 300 gil a piece. So you can go ahead and buy these items, especially the Hanish Fiber and the Eblan Danabrite, since they will probably be used for our trial weapons later on. There is of course items also for Weaver, like the Saffron Cloth was an older intermediate which was selling for pennies on the dollar, and now it's selling for 4,000 to 6,000 each. And why does it keep selling? Well, of course it's used for glamour. Our equivalent would be the Golden Silk, which is selling for 15 gil up to 30 gil. It's really cheap. And the Frontier set came patch 5.55, so wait for patch 6.55 or around towards the end of Endwalker, since there might be a glamour set also using the Golden Silk. But even if there won't be a glamour set using the Golden Silk, there are bardings and other glamour pieces and other recipes that Golden Silk uses. So since less people will be crafting this craft, since there is still demand, the price will naturally go up as well. Along with intermediates means there are Gatherables that you can also stock on as well. First up is items that are used for the intermediates, used for the trial weapons, such as sandalwood sap for the pliable glass fiber. So I bought this at around 10 to 20 gil each. Now they sell for around 2,000, sometimes 7,000, but usually it stays around the 1,000 mark. For Hanish Fiber, we use the Thavnarian corn, and of course you can get this at 20 gil, 25 gil, 30 gil, etc. So this is a great thing to go ahead and buy up and keep for the next expansion. Along with Gatherables are Aether Sands, and usually you can get these Aether Sands pretty cheap. They're a little bit more expensive on my server, but you can buy them for 59 gil each, 60 gil each, 70 gil each, especially when it's coming right up to the next expansion. People are dumping their inventories trying to get out all the old materials. But we are still using old materials even now. The H-Deep Aether Sand, I bought it at like 40 gil a piece. Now it's selling for 900, sometimes 700. Nonetheless, people still buy it, people still need it, and if you have a whole bunch, don't worry, you can just wait and sell it later on. And finally, general Gatherables. There are a ton of Shadowbringers Gatherables that we still use today, especially a ton of things like Light Ribera, which are used for one of the main ways to get a ton of light crafter scripts. Now, I can't tell you what specifically to go ahead and stock on, since we have so many Gatherables that could possibly be used, but if you have a ton of these items, don't worry about it. You don't have to dump it and sell it all immediately. Just sit on it. Once the expansion does come out, you'll have the script recipes already there, so you can immediately see what you should go ahead and toss and what you can go ahead and sell for a premium, because I spent a premium on all these items since I dumped everything I had. I thought it wouldn't be used, I wouldn't need it, but yeah, I needed this, a ton of it actually, and I spent so much on old materials that I previously just threw out. So don't make that same mistake, and if you have the retainer space, you can go ahead and save everything. Next up is Materia. Now, as you know, we use the odd number materials for penta melding. The 7s of Shadowbringers were our 9 equivalents as of now, and we still use 7s to this day for over melding. So that means the 9s that we have right now is going to be our 7s right now, and our 7s right now will be our 5s. Long story short, get as many 9s as you can, because if 7s are still selling this good right now, my god, is it going to be so good at the very start of the expansion as well. If you notice 9s are dipping in price, especially cunning 9s, and I do recommend buying out a ton, but you can also just craft a ton of white scripts and get them that way. Command 10s are of course good right now. Since it is an even number, we don't use this for pentamelding, and of course the 8s, which were our previous 10s, not worth very much at all. So do keep that in mind. I would try and get them out of your bags before the expansion comes out. I stocked up on 8s previously, and that was a pretty darn big mistake. But you know, Command Materia 10s are selling great right now, so just sell them now, get them out of your bags, and for 7.0, don't keep them. The next and final section is Sildhn rewards and the new Eureka Orthos rewards. Now, if you remember, when you were playing along when the Sildhn subterrane came out, these housing items were worth nothing. They were selling for around 2k each, 1k each, 800 gil each. It was just complete nothing. You would make more by selling it to the vendor than putting it on the market board. But now it is worth 400k, 430,000, 130k. It jumped up like crazy once people stop doing the content. We can of course use that information and look at Eureka Orthos, which is our most current content right now, and see what's super cheap that's selling from here after people open the lock boxes, get all these items, and just post it because there's already a ton of it and they don't really care for how much they're posting it for. A lot of the bardings are super cheap right now, such as the Suzaku barding, the Titania barding, the barding of Divine Light. It's expensive on my server right now, but on Phoenix it's 100k, Phantom 134, and earlier it was selling for 80k. So it's already starting to get more expensive, and this is something you should do right now rather than wait. Since, of course, within a month from now, prices will go back up since people are not doing that content as frequently as they are right now. If you, of course, want all the items for both the Sildhn Subterrane and the Eureka Orthos, you can go over to my blog post and all the links will, of course, be there. So I went ahead to my alt, set myself 10 mil gil so I can go ahead and spend this gil on prepping for 7.0. I'll go ahead, pick up all the items, check back with everything I've got so we can keep track of not only the prices as the months go by, but also what I've got so far. And of course, I'll keep updating my 7.0 stockpile as I do with every patch. And of course, we're also gonna be making a 6.4 video very soon. So here's everything that I got for around 10 million. I got as many bardings as I could within the 100k mark. The Titania bardings and the bardings of Divine Light are already going up, but especially the close shave modern aesthetics. I bought these for around 50k up to 100k, and on my server, on Let Me Swat, they're already up to 400k, so I don't know how it is on other servers, on other data centers. If this hairstyle is still cheap for you, I do recommend buying it because it's already going up and it's going up fast. I also bought some, of course, raw materials and the intermediates, one of the housing items, and a few items that are from the Eureka Orthos that are meant for desynthesizing. I got mostly Suzaku weapons since the Suzaku feather is still quite expensive. I got some Emperor's Thrones since the crystal that is used to craft the Emperor's Throne is still very expensive, around 20k. So you just desynthesize, get the item from it, and sell it that way. I went ahead and desynthesized everything. I got 2 Shinryu scales, 2 Scarlet Tala feathers, and 1 of the crystals from the Emperor's Throne. I also, of course, got a ton of crystals of Divine Light, 50 of them, Wind Pearls, 29 of them, and Blue Feathers, 18 of them. I, of course, already have plenty of Plate of Lights, Plate of Emerald Weapon, and Diamond Weapon, which is not shown here, but since I previously stockpiled it for 6.3, I still have those. So guys, thank you so much for watching. That is everything about 7.0 so far. Of course, we're getting a live letter very soon. There's going to be more information as the months move on, but that's what I'm doing right now, and I just wanted to share that with all of you. Again, thank you to everyone that supports me on Twitch, Discord, and YouTube. You all keep the channel going. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Bye-bye!